Hi, it's Sunday the 29th of December 2019, so just a couple of days left before we start the Gregorian New Year, and an exciting time as it's a new wave spell today, which is going to bridge both 2019 and 2020, and that's White Dog Wavespell. So there we are on the blue tack, which is in the yellow. We've done the red, 13 days of red earth, seeing how grounded we are, how we're embodying this Uranus in Taurus energy. This is all about embodiment now. And White Dog is all about Game of Genomes, not Game of Thrones. It's all about understanding your code, mapping your code. It's so key for our self-empowerment and our evolution right now on planet Earth is to know what our patterns are, to know how we are the next step of our personal human being history on one level, and on another level, as we are really working with that energy, then we can really start to combine our higher self more and more, coming in to this human being framework, because this is what I offer you. It's what we're here for at this time if you're watching this video and if you're interested in these frameworks. So today we are in Sun in Capricorn, and Capricorn is the disciple, is the patriarchy, lots of planets in there at the moment, and we've got a big event coming up in January with Saturn and Pluto being completely conjunct, and that is beginning the end of this pattern, so that this time next year we're going to be Saturn in Aquarius, and we are literally going to see the structure then, the huge planet of Saturn, and our karma, our patterning, our template that we come to work with, using Uranus to reforge, bring light to literally rewire who we are now, because it's time on planet Earth. So it's a really exciting time, and it's a challenging time. And on Boxing Day on the 26th, we had the new moon in Capricorn, which was at 4 degrees. The new moons in the next couple of months, again up to the spring equinox, they're all going to be 4 degrees. And so again, it's revealing the structure. It's all about the structure. And the fourth house in the natural zodiac is Cancer. So we've completed a 6-month cycle of the opposite of Capricorn, which is Cancer. So we've got the mother and the father, and that was back in June. And we, of course, we had the start of this spiral on the 13th of July, and it's all about Cancer energy. So it's all about mothering, nurturing, how we were mothered and nurtured in our home, basically, and how to understand what that has created for us on a personal level, and how we project that code out onto the world. So maybe you're familiar with the term projection. It's a psychological term, broadly speaking. Check it out, Google it. In terms of how I see it, in terms of the Mayan calendar, it's connected to Red Moon, which was yesterday. We had Red Cosmic Moon. And so Red Moon's shadow side is all about projecting the story from the past onto the present, and which is what we all do on some level. When we actually become aware of that, when we awaken to this Red Moon, which we've been in a 13-year cycle of Red Moon, then we really get to understand how all of us do that as human beings, because it's how the brain is wired is to learn experientially, literally again, which not a lot of people are familiar with. Key tip for this time with this Uranus in Taurus is to become very aware of it and what it means, because now we're in the embodiment stage. So we're going beyond the intellect, we're going back to the old ways, we're uncovering, remembering, unlearning, so that we can access who we really are as human beings, rather than the manipulated version, the lesser version, the version of the conditioned, distorted code that's been going on for 5,500 years, which is the age of Pisces, which we're now transiting out of. So we're now coming into a new period, a new decade, and literally seeing how we create what we believe to be true, what we project out onto the world based on our genes, based on our life experience up to now. And when you go deeper with this, it's mind-boggling, because you'll realize how the whole framework works of the human being evolution, and that we literally do the next step of all the people who have gone before in our DNA line. With the latest energy therapies, such as EFT, we can change, literally change our biology. We can change our biology of belief as well. And all of this is absolutely essential to changing our cosmic code, working with our cosmic code, like I say, the Saturnian structure that we have. So where Saturn is in your chart is key. If you've got Saturn in Capricorn, you're having a Saturn return right now. So you're going over old ground. And again, this is what happens. We keep going over old ground, Groundhog Day, until we really understand what is happening, why we believe what we believe, why we do what we do, how we think, how we function, how our mind and our beliefs literally create most of our experience. So like I say, we're in a human evolution game, and it's really understanding the rules of the game. Maybe you've been playing some games at the festive time of the year. We started playing a new game called Pandemic, which is not a competitive game in terms of the other players. It's a very Aquarian format, which again, your psyche, my psyche, can struggle with, because it's been conditioned at this time to be competitive. And so many people do struggle around being in a team and can't get their head around the concept, literally, because the conditioned mindset, just computer says no, don't get it. Just what? We're not in competition with each other. How do you win? All of those sorts of questions. So we're now coming to this place in our evolution where we realize that what we all do impacts on each other. And this is why all the wounding is still going on, the anger is still going on, the blame game is still going on, the not wanting to grow up and own our own stuff, our own shadow and our own projection as well. So that is now past its sell-by date, and this decade is going to be all about really knowing ourselves, knowing our own stuff, knowing our patterns. If you can talk to a family member, preferably the older the better, with a good memory, who can tell you about what's gone on in your family up to now. And you can have the most amazing revelations. This is the time of revelation, personal revelation, where you can speak to each other and see how you're exactly following in the footsteps. So new moon in Capricorn, following the footsteps. I've been talking to a friend today. We shared the same experiences. We got stuff out of the loft. We were looking at old family stuff, our children's stuff. And it's amazing how the mind, the memory can distort things, and how other members of your family remember things differently because they've got a different perspective, they've got a different code, especially generationally. They will remember different things because they have a different belief system. So my daughter was saying to me, showing me this picture, saying, do you remember our cats having this toy? And I just had a complete blank, and she couldn't believe that I couldn't remember it. But again, this is really important. If, for example, we had that toy, and I know that we did, we were going through a big emotional time at that time, then again, your emotional mind often doesn't log things then. And I'm going to offer you, again, this may seem extraordinary to some people. On a personal level, I've worked with this for a long period of time, coming up to my 13th year now, working with dyslexia, for example. And this is all about the individual embedding personal code. So if somebody's trying to teach you and they don't have any patience and they're angry with you and they're judgmental, and hey, haven't we all been there at some point with that, where you're trying to get your point across, or you're trying to share something, especially with a young person, and they really don't want to do it, they don't want to get it. And how cool can you be? You know, how emotion free can you be at that point? Because the more you get upset and the more angry you get, even if you don't speak it, again, going back to remembering that we are energy beings, we are vibrational beings, we resonate. So when we are resonating with anger, it doesn't matter what comes out of your mouth. This is so key to understand this. The energy is what's doing the talking. The energy is what's doing the creating. If you got sick over the Christmas period, again, this is really key too, because there's a lot of negativity around this time of year. In the UK, it's dark, it's cold, it's bringing all our family stuff up, and the positive intention of that, the universal intention, the divine code, the evolution framework, is so we can clear it. It can come up, we can get it off our chest, hence a lot of chesty stuff. We can be heard, hence a lot of throat stuff, and or not, you know, and this is where it lodges and stays. And we can address things with Venus in Aquarius at the moment. This is all about solution focus. That's what Aquarius energy is all about. Let's find solutions. Let's learn from what's happened to us and not keep repeating the same old stuck, wounding behavior that creates ill health for us. I've watched some amazing films over the period. In particular, I just want to mention these if you've not watched them yet. These are key they're supposedly for entertainment, and they're fictional to some degree, but they're also based on some facts as well. And Downsizing, I'm not sure if there's any facts in there, but that's an amazing film with Matt Damon to watch that really helps explore different belief systems. And this is what we need to be doing now. You know, we're going to be coming up to Aquarius time soon, which I love this time of year. And so we're going to be seeing a bigger picture, seeing possibilities, seeing solutions, being inspired. And so Downsizing is one of those films that really gets you out of your mind box and gets you to look at a different perspective and, you know, use your imagination. And sometimes that can be tricky to do when you're enmeshed around your family patterning. Laundromat is an amazing film with Meryl Streep and many other people, and again explains what's going on in the money world. And generally people need to wake up and watch this and not just accept that it's a given, because we're all in this together. We can all be empowered, each one of us. That's how it works. you know, switching that light on within us and saying, enough is enough. I am enough. I'm going to work on myself, and I'm going to really come into empowerment now. Because this, again, is how it works from the inside out. This is what Capricorn's about: being disciplined, being the disciple, doing the work. And this year, this coming new year, is going to be all about that. It's no good moaning about it. It's no good being a victim. Again, this is white dog energy, is really coming from healing that victimhood, family wounding place of whatever that means for the individual, and just deciding that you're going to do something different, and this pattern stops with you. So this pattern stops with me in my family. And again, I've been doing the family tree with my mum, which has been amazing, and then just seeing parallels of my own life, and then really key code as well around seeing who in your family line are you matching. And sometimes that's a mixture of people, but once you start to really look at this, you become really aware of reoccurring themes, reoccurring dates, times of year. This is what needs to be logged in your book of shadows, which is your manual for yourself. We all need a manual for ourselves, yeah, rather than the TV or the PlayStation 4 or whatever. The most important manual we have is for ourselves, so that we learn what makes us tick. So we need to understand our psychology, our biology, our chemistry. Again, a lot of people are making shifts in their diet now, seeing lots of interesting debates on Facebook about what to eat and what's good for the human being. Loads of films out there on that as well. And it's for each of us to do our own due diligence, because this is what the Age of Aquarius is about. It's about following our own cookie trail, asking questions and researching. You know, you need to become your own scientist and research what is healthy, because there's been so much disinformation going on to sell products that who knows what the truth is anymore. But once you start to really get clear on the inside, once you start to really do this healing work, this is what White Dog is about. It's about reconnecting to your gut instinct. So if you put in loads of stuff in your gut that is not good for you, it can be hard to access your gut instinct. If you've been constantly around narcissistic vibration, watch the Getty film as well, All the Money in the World. That's on Netflix at the moment as well. That is, again, something that everyone needs to watch to understand where the money is going in society. So many people have set up structures to not pay their taxes. And I watched another one about that, which was mind-boggling as well. Charlie, I'm trying to think of the name of it now. It's set in the 1980s, and basically it's about an American politician and how he manages to raise funds. And that in itself is absolutely mind-boggling. I'll look it up and I'll put it on my Facebook underneath this video when I remember the name of it. So again, it's just, most people don't understand what's going on in their own village, their own community, handing over trust to other people without even understanding how it works, and believing that other people are going to do the right thing. And clearly, after many historical events where that isn't the case, is it? You know, so things need to change. We can't keep relying on the same old structures. But I know it's very difficult when we're enmeshed in something where we're working all the time and we don't have time to be healthy, we don't have time to cook, we don't have time to think, we don't have time to question things. Why is that design going on? This is really key. Okay, so this has been created, this design, and we can create new ones, healthy ones that really work. So White Dog is all about understanding our ancestry, understanding our tribe, understanding, if you've been around family over the festive period, what really works for you, what makes you feel good, what conditions need to be met for you as an individual to know that you are loved, and conversely, what triggers you, what makes you feel that you're not loved, that you're not valued, and that you're not respected. And because these are the things that need to be worked with to be healed, so that we don't continue in the same old story, the same old program, and so that we can be free of it because we understand it and we've let it go. We've drawn a line under it. We've said no more of that. We're not doing that anymore. This is how the world changes, by each person making that commitment to do their inner work. So just reading my notes, we've got the planet of Mercury, and it's also shared with yesterday's energy of Red Moon. So both Red Moon and White Dog, they both have Mercury as their planet. Mercury has just gone into Capricorn. With the new moon expanding now, it's a great time building up to this lunar eclipse in Cancer. Yeah, the full moon in Cancer is coming up on the 10th of January, and it's also a lunar eclipse. And this is the end of the 13-day cycle. So it'll be on White Cosmic Wind Day, which is what needs to move so that we can allow truth to be spoken, we can allow spirit to come in more, because we are actually creating a structure where it can come in the human being. This is the key thing around healing, doing new behaviors, because we've got different belief systems, because we don't have the same worrying thoughts going on, the same trauma. We're not projecting that out there because it's been completed. We've done it. It's remembering that we're in a mystery school and that we've got challenges to meet in our personal learning. And this can be really helpful to remember all the time, whenever we're going through the deep trenches and it feels muddy and the light is minimal on a physical level, because often we lose sight of things. We lose sight of why we're here. We forget, and we just get stuck in the goo of all of this wounding story. With so many people in it right now, so many people getting ill, having a hard time, going through these huge challenges because we're at this gateway point, it's very, very important to get ourselves in a support system where we remember that there's so much more to this now, and that we chose to come here at this time for this reason, and we are perfectly capable of doing it. Everything is aligned for us now to make this transition, and the astrology has been super cosmic. Things going on the sun. Again, Google about sunspots. You can see how patterns match up to the last financial crash, for example. It is all about patterns, you know, that's the key. It's all about structures. In terms of Mercury, Mercury is our god and goddess self, is our higher self, is Thoth. And so understanding that the more that we start to match these cycles, match these systems, do what we need to do, be disciplined, stop doing things that are bad for us, no matter what, no matter how much we crave them, then we can really start to mature and rewire our emotional mind. And that inner child that wants things now, doesn't want to feel uncomfortable, might avoid telling the truth because somebody might not like us, and all of that stuff, all of that difficult, challenging stuff. If you're a people pleaser, then this is what's going to come up right now. But it's remembering that everything that seems to be the problem is actually the solution. Everything that feels challenging, sticky, hurtful, I'm just going to offer you that pain is just a program, okay? It's an alert showing us that something's not right, something needs looking at, something needs attention, whether it's on an emotional pain level or a physical pain. If we don't deal with it on an emotional level, then it goes deeper and it goes into the body. So with White Dog, the more that we do this work, the more we connect to our soul tribe as well. And so sometimes our birth family, we can be the black sheep, you know, and because we're the one who doesn't do the same pattern as everybody else, so we're scapegoated, we're bringing in something that other people don't want to deal with, they don't want to hear it, they don't want to look at it, you know, it's painful, all of that. So that can be projected onto the individual and then they can be cast out. And the more that we start to understand this as an individual as well, the more empowered we become, just to know that, you know, that I know there's all these intellectual things out there on Facebook, especially chapter and verse day after a day of dogma of, you know, it's not you, it's not your story, and, you know, it's just about what they're projecting onto you. But it's actually embodying that and knowing it through you like a stick of rock, because you've healed it and you get it and you can still say it and you really don't take it personally because you've cleared the personal wounding going on. So conditioning, conditional love, code, that's really key over the next 13 days. That's what we're going to be shown. I've written down lots of notes to remind me. The way that we get to experience lots of lifetimes in one now as well is key for our evolution. So often we're going into unknown territory, we're experiencing different jobs, different perspectives, we're having people come into our life as well to show us this. Because really the only way that we can be truly empathetic is if we have actually stood in somebody else's shoes. Again, going back to the footprints, we've got to stand in somebody else's shoes and to know exactly how that feels, or maybe not exactly, but we've got a lot more idea than if we've never ever encountered it at all, which is why it's great to go and see a therapist who has had that personal journey rather than somebody who's just got an academic understanding of it, because these are completely different worlds, you know, completely different worlds. Somebody who's had the same journey as you and come out the other side through healing and different therapies really can understand you far more than somebody who's never had a panic attack, for example, but can tell you, you know, how to deal with it, but doesn't understand how it makes you feel at all on any level. So this is really where we're about. It's about embodiment. This is what the Uranus in Taurus trip is all about. And it's here for a while, so we need to get used to it. Revelations that I've had since the new moon coming in with the solar eclipse. I had lots of amazing insights around my own personal family, and also that on the day that it happened, it was White Planetary World Bridger Day. Okay, so it was a manifestation of what worlds need to die so that we can live. And with each day, depending on what number it is, So for example, today is number 1. So we're starting not only a 13-day process, but we're starting a 13-year process today. So when it's planetary, that means it's a number 10. So on the day of the eclipse and the new moon, it was actually Boxing Day, so that's a 26, and that was day 11. So it was Christmas Day that was day 10. I've just checked that now. And so on day 11, on Boxing Day, it was blue spectral hand. So it was what we're needing to let go of to shape our destiny. So whatever was happening for you on Boxing Day around what you felt you needed to let go of is really key, because that's it. You know, that's what needs rewiring. In terms of Christmas Day, that was a day of white planetary world bridger. So again, Christmas Day can be so emotional and so many expectations. It's just a day actually, but we place so much value on it. And in terms of where that was on the cycle, so it was 2010 was the beginning of a 13-year cycle, and that was also a red dragon, so it was the start of a spiral. So that gave me some really good insights as well. Once you start working with these cycles and these codes and these patterns, it just expands and they just start happening more and more, and it's like, wow. And then you can see lots of similar cycles and circles. So if you think back to what you were doing in 2010, where were you, who were you with on Christmas Day, what were you doing, and where are you now, and what have you done, what choices have you made, how have you been instrumental in shaping your destiny. And again, going back to the beginning of the video, it is the game of genomes. So again, once we really get into understanding this framework, it's really realizing that everything is already written, and that can be very challenging for the ego and the will. And we do have free will, and I believe we only have certain parameters to work around that. So the more you know about your astrology, your mind sign, what cycle you're in, this is so key to working with the bigger wheel of the human evolution code, which is revealed in the Mayan 260-day calendar, and also it's revealed in the astrology, which we're having a lot of powerful stuff now. So in each generation, we're having a particular energy, a particular code, a particular way of looking at the world for that generation, and each one bringing their own next perspective to shape the human being. So it's very, very key to know how to work with this energy, how to work with our human being mindset, and understand how our thoughts are so key really to everything. Good tools to use right now are ways to ground on one level, and again I use emotional freedom technique to work with whatever's coming up for triggering. Do check it out. I'm going to be offering workshops in 2020 to teach EFT in a particular framework in a very powerful way, to start to work with the amygdala and the patterns and the codes, and help people really start to reshape how they experience the world in a loving and respectful way, in it from a place of healing as well. So this is so key for all of us, and I'm passionate about this work. I'm also going to be offering key coding awareness workshops and teaching people how to find key cosmic code within their own natal chart and how to use it. So I'm excited about that. I know it's going to be a really dynamic 2020, and it's what we need to be disciplined, to make us do the work now, because let's be honest, most of the time, unless we get ill or some crisis happens, how often are we proactive around really doing something that's good for us, or just getting out of the box, doing something out of the comfort zone? And the comfort zone is death in so many ways. You know, the comfort zone is what keeps us stuck. It's going to the edge of your map of the universe now, your own personal map, and being prepared to go beyond it into a whole different space. And how wow is that? Because all the bets are off, all the codes are changing, and it's an amazing time to be alive and go from survival to thriving now. In terms of where White Dog is in our chart, it's the 10th house, it's the heart's desire. It's remembering that White Dog, the cosmic code, is right here, the very epicenter. Check out my epicenter video for more information about that. It's the 10th Mayan sign, so it is all about what we want to manifest, to be free from any conditions that limit us, that make us feel afraid, that keep us back in the past because we've still got an old story running there that hasn't had a resolution yet. So for your New Year's resolutions, may I suggest that that's a key focus, because when we focus on that and we change that, everything changes, and it's absolutely what we're here to do at this time. So lots of love to you. Hope you have an amazing 13 days of revelation and awareness coming to refine your red earth 13-day process or before. Lots of love. And if you want to know more, check out my blog, flowwithjo.com. Please do get in touch if you'd like to know more about the workshops and your own personal code. Lots of love. Bye for now.